All right, here we are, another week around the trash fire. Your host Mathias, along with the boy.
John.
Well, it's a pretty short week. Not too much interesting GW news, at least.
Pretty sure supply chains of or issues have caused releases to stagnate. I mean, a lot of other games that got their stuff delayed, and also proves to me why Games Workshop really doesn't, or shows me why Games Workshop really doesn't like revealing release dates in advance.
Yeah, I could see that. I haven't really heard too much about supply chain problems, but rise of COVID surges coming at least to
Yeah,
California.
like in Legion, the new jet bikes, mercenary jet bikes, were delayed for a month. Conquest had some releases delayed. I believe the bone golems for my faction were delayed another month or so. So, yeah,
Let me see. Well, in terms of GW, I think they had a lot of stuff revealed last week, so the war with all the specialist games and the pipeline coming down for chaos space brains.
hmm
So it makes sense why it's not as jam packed.
well,
But
in terms of release schedule too. I mean, nothing really a lot for sale. Well, this one has a good amount, but there's still more that we know is coming that is not here yet.
yeah, yep. So we're gonna change it up a bit from what we started, and we're gonna start off with the good old Heresy Thursday,
Yeah, Heresy Thursday.
which we got the close combat dreadnought coming out to be plastic and this is gonna be a separate kit, right? This isn't gonna be combined with the shooty dreadnought.
Yeah, this is going to be a separate kit from the Shooty Dreadnought, and this will be $80.
It sure will.
Yep, which it's chunky thing with a lot of bits.
Oh, it's just a Forge World one.
Oh, the Forge World Leviathan is like
I mean, I know they have a little bit more detail because of specific legions, but
um
also you don't get any guns with it. But
yeah, without the arms, the body is. Let me change my currency here. Let's see, $91.
so for $10 less, you get arms
You get you get a lot of arms, and yeah,
and weapon choices. I guess. I mean, there's a lot of
yeah,
weapons here,
yep,
but yeah. So that's coming. 30K plastic. I can't wait for more stuff to come plastic. I'm glad you hit on the price. $80.
yeah. I mean, it's cool. I still debating whether if I want to pick one up because I already have two Leviathans fully painted. None of
Mm-hmm.
them are the melee one though, so maybe it's worth getting a melee one.
Now's
I
your
know we'll see.
chance.
We'll see. We'll see.
Hmm. Okay. And I started with him because he's in the Sunday preview. So going to the Sunday preview, Chaos is getting some of its models.
Yes.
Not everything that is new is coming here. So, uh, Chaos Marines, they are not in this bundle. So, not getting any new ones. Let's see what else is in here. So Cultists.
It's not here.
Sorry.
What did you say was not here?
Uh, sorry. Possessed,
Yeah.
Accursed Cultist, and Demon Prince is what I meant to say.
Yeah, yeah. And the
Looking at my notes, I have Chaos Marines, and then oh my god, yeah, the Chaos Marines are not here yet. And then it's just the Possessed, the Cultist, Accursed Cultist, and Demon Prince that are not in this release.
yes. Yes, I think there's something. There's the no, I guess that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that in terms of new models or resculpts, however you want to define it. But starting off with the first thing we got here, cultists, new cultists, because these aren't from Blackstone, right?
No, these are completely new.
Yeah,
I do wonder if this is a multi-kit. I think this is a multi-kit.
I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Um,
So starting with the cultists, they are going to be $45 for a 10-man kit.
yeah, Games Workshop really likes pricing on model and not unit and not gameplay. But I mean, that's what it is, right? You
Well,
rules
you
are.
used to get a pack of 5 mono kit for like what, $10? Is that how much it used to be?
Yeah, it was like no, it was like yeah, it was like $10. But so if that's 20 for 10, like these are easily doubly good than those. So
Well,
I think
yeah, because I mean those
so
are
I think
Dark Vengeance.
as models, as a multi-kit, as models, this is probably worth around $40. But as a game unit, that's expensive for how much this costs in game. So,
Yep, yep.
but that's what it is, right?
That's what you get for quality, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, with Games Workshop games is that you have horde units that are just really good models, and they're priced as really good models, which kind of sucks because you need a ton of them.
Hmm. And cultists, I mean, I'll get into it in the hobby rant section, but definitely just normal cultists, you know? Just sit on objectives, hope they don't get blown off, and that's it. They don't really do anything for you other than
Hmm.
that. But moving on from them, we got the Dark Commune, which I think, let me pull up my. Dark Commune is going for $50. 50 smackaroos for this
Here,
Colt
here.
HQ.
This definitely has the HQ tax because you'll probably only need one of this.
Yeah, you got the HQ tax. I mean, they're beautiful models. I'll give it that. You know,
Right.
I would like to pick.
They're cool.
All I see with the guys with the big swords, I just see Sauron or whatever the guys from his army from Lord of the Rings miniature game is called.
The Moths or the Black Numenorians.
Yeah, there you go. But yep, we got this. Uh, can't really say too much about that. So there's that. There's these guys chosen coming here. There are gonna be $60.
Kind of makes sense. I mean, Blade Guard are 55 for 3 multi-part dudes, and these guys are pretty much almost the size of Blade Guard, maybe a little bit shorter. And you got 5 of them
But
for
they're not
$5,
Primaris, so that's why they're shorter.
a ton of bits. So
Yeah, they just you got the trade off where their weapons don't really matter much. But
that's a game thing. I'm so over that now playing Heresy. Uh, I actually prefer that on 40k. I in a game where with like a billion factions, I think streamline. I think Age of Sigmar and even Warhammer Fantasy proved that streamlined weaponry is better.
it is. I agree. Everything hits on this, everything wins on this. Just makes the game go by a little bit
Just like,
faster.
like having the same rule, yeah, having the same rule, and just having a handful of weapons. I mean, yeah, fantasy, at least in sixth, seventh edition, there was like hand weapons, spears, great weapons, and it's kind of it, regardless of what faction you were playing. Tomb Kings had weapons, Empire had hand weapons. There's no like Nehekmaran Kopesh or like Reichlind dagger. It's like, no, it's a hand weapon.
Yep. So, I mean, that's the trade off. I mean, the cool thing is, you know, you can put whatever you want on them and just make them look badass, like Chosen
Right.
should be.
Not worry about is this effective or not.
Right. Moving on from the Chosen, Warpsmith, obviously character, what's it called, tax. So $38 on him, which he was in a 2-player box set, right, originally, or was
Yes,
he?
so the chosen.
Yeah, with the Chosen. Okay, this is the first time they're finally being released.
Yes, by themselves.
Okay. Let's see. And moving on from there, Warp Forge. This is the one that everyone's talking about. The Venom Crawler and Obliterators being grouped together.
Yes. Finally. I mean, I much prefer that they were their own kit. There was like a new Obliterator kit, but I mean, at least it's a new
I
model.
mean, everyone wanted them to be separate because, I mean, from what I recall, can't buy Obliterators on their own. And I don't know anything about the Venom Crawler because no
Yeah,
one ever ran a Venom Crawler before. At least that I played against. But I
I
guess
mean they seem strong now as demon engines, but it's like it's the thing of like, well, if you don't want one, then you're stuck with one. If you want Obliterator, I mean, I guess you could split it with someone, but that requires you to split it with someone, which is not the most ideal place to be in.
Mm-hmm. And someone must really want a Venom Crawler.
Right.
But there is that. That is probably the most contentious thing here. There's no price given yet that I have found for this bundle.
Yeah, I haven't yet to see one either. It's probably web store only or something.
Well, I'll take your guess. How much do you think it's gonna be? I'm gonna go for. I'm gonna go for 90.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for like 92.
All right. Well, I guess I'm glad we're in agreement. I guess we know GW well.
Yep.
Moving on from that. So that is that. That's it for the Chaos Space Marines. Or yeah. The Kill Team version has also been leaked. That's gonna be about $65 for the Kill Team Space Marines. So there's that. Who knows if when the actual Marines will come out. But yeah. All in all, cool stuff. But I really want the Demon Prince and a Cursed Cultist. Possessed are okay, but I
Demon
want.
Prince. Possessed, I'm picking up because of their cast based marines, and I'm in the gotta catch them all phase for cast based marines. So
No, yeah, no, I'll go over it later. But yeah, there's that. Let's see what else. Let's see. That's it for that. Moving on, Horus Heresy. We already talked about the Dreadnought. Oh, it's gonna be $80. All the weapon choices. Moving on to the books. Black Library. We got the Devastation of Ball. Have you ever read Devastation of Ball?
I have not. I heard it's good though. It's a good war novel, but I'm kind of getting exhausted about battle novels that are in Warhammer. I like the more story driven stuff.
I hear it's really crazy, especially one scene.
Oh, okay. Is it the Lictor scene you're talking about?
No, unless I don't think I've heard that scene. There's another scene. I'll tell you later. I don't want to
Oh,
spoil it on the podcast, but
okay.
yeah, there's some crazy stuff that happens. Unless I'm thinking of another. Is there another book in the Devastation of Baal series, or is it
Is
just
there
this?
another one? No, I think it's just that, as far as I
Okay,
know.
so then I'm pretty sure I'm right, unless I'm thinking of another book. But we got that coming out with all this special stuff for the book. Uh, Toys, stuff we haven't seen and stuff we don't really care too much about. Yeah, your Chaos Space Marines are finally coming through. My God, this looks so bad. Like, it's the paint that looks bad. Like the toy itself is fine, but the way it's painted, I feel like I could do better. Which I could put my money where my mouth is and get the artisan proof to do that and try to make it better myself. And then we're also getting Dark Angel's Intercessor, artisan proof, and that's pretty much it there. And
Yep.
then Warhammer Plus, nothing I care too much about. It's just a battle report and how to paint horns and teeth. So all in all, pretty disappointing unless you're Chaos and you care about any of those releases. Any of those releases that tickle your fancy. But I don't really care too much for it. Any thoughts
Yeah.
on that?
I mean, still debating cutting the Leviathan, but we'll see. It's a cool model. It's a Leviathan. I mean, I've owned. Let's see. I have 3 fully painted Leviathans right now. Would not mind another one. So we'll
One
see.
that's close combat-y?
Actually, I have no close combat Leviathans. I only have one with guns, or a gun and an arm. None that are double double fists. I even have a double gun one, just no double fist one. So
Well, I remember 7th edition was really terrible for close combat armies. How is it? How is it in 30K?
it honestly, it really depends on terrain and how much line of sight blocking you have. Because if you have cheese hole buildings and you don't play with bottom floor line of sight blocking, then you'll get shot off the table because of how cover works. But in my gaming group, we play pretty line of sight. I mean, we also don't have gun lines, and recently we've been getting using a lot of line of sight blocking building. So guns shooting people off the table hasn't been too much of an issue.
Yeah, I see.
But yeah, like I mean, if your terrain sucks, then gun lines will dominate. But if you have good terrain with good line of sight blocking, then gun lines will be a bit more balanced.
And well, it's kind of how it is in 40K. I think it's a lot better now that artillery has been nerfed. But that's good to know. Moving on to our next thing here. The Rotmeyer. Uh, just a little stats and a little lore that go through the Rotmeyer. Figured we just look at it here. It's looking like your basic normal Chaos Warband here. Not too much other information, unfortunately.
I
For
believe they revealed in one of the videos that reactions are coming to Warcry, which that's exciting. I like reactions.
mhm.
So they didn't talk about it here, but that's something someone put it out last week.
I'm debating if I want to get the two-player box set for this, just for the Rotmeyer.
They're pretty cool. I might get it for the terrain. We'll see.
Yep, but there they are. It's just so cool. Moving on. More squat news. More squat reveals. We got an ATV, which is just weird. I find it weird because when you have access to like hover technology and you're still using treads, it's just weird.
I mean, it's I think it's at least consistent with the Imperium being inconsistent. You know,
Hmm.
like Tau and Eldar make sense. They're consistently all grab, and orcs are consistently all all what's it
All
called,
wheels and treads.
all wheels. But the Imperium has the combination of land speeders and even in Heresy, they had before there were ATVs, you had track land raiders and then floating land speeders and rhinos and jet bikes, and like 30K has jet bikes and regular bikes. So which is I agree it's kind of weird, but at least it's consistently inconsistent when it comes to and tracked and grav for or hover for these quote unquote imperial.
Yeah, I just figured because of how secretive and using AI and everything, that they would be more hover base, especially since the first was it second picture showed us with the hover tank or hover bike. Sorry,
What about the hoverbike?
that they had a hover bike, so I would assume they would be more technologically more advanced than the Imperium. But I guess I guess it's a lot easier to design something with wheels and treads, so you don't have to put them on those awkward bases. But other than that, I kind of like it. I don't dislike it.
It's not hype enough for me to want to do the faction, but it's cool, it's refreshing, it's a new design. I mean, breath of fresh air compared to the Imperium vehicles, and it's something you could use in Necromunda for your Ashway
Hey,
stuff.
that's true. You could use this as a Necromunda.
Yeah,
If
especially because the vehicle creation rules are very not really tied to a specific model or anything. So this is cool for that. And also, it's 30K. You could use this in your militia army whenever those come out. Freaking Kabanda drops for pre-order and has no rules for the army he's in. So we just have this model with rules, but can't really be slotted into any army. Hoping that when he's actually released this Friday, that his rules will come out. But tangent aside, this is I like it. It's not for me, but actually like this way more than the Grav motorcycle.
yeah. Well, seems to have plenty of weapon options, so that's good. Lots of bits. So, this will probably be. How much was the ATV for the
Oh,
Space
she was
Marines?
like 30, 35. This is probably going to be like 50 because it's a multi kit.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 55, 60. Would be my
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, depending how big it is.
Yeah, there we go. We got that. And the last Necromunda news was New Model Monday. Even though they seem to be revealing squats every Monday, as well as new models. We got two new Necromunda characters, and I don't like them.
Yeah, the sculpt looks kind of bad, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they could have done very cool things with a pirate theme. I feel like they
Right.
squandered it here.
Yeah, the faces are not very well done. The detail on the model isn't very good. Yay for Necromunda players, but and I mean, we're Necromunda players, but this is not really exciting. It's pretty just more random stuff, which I guess is fine, but it's not something that excites me.
Yeah, I agree. Which is disappointing. When I'm more hyped for the squad vehicle than I am these two
All
models.
right.
But that is it in terms of GW news. Unless you have something you want to talk about really fast.
For GW, yeah, that's kind of it.
Okay, then. You have to remind me, but there was what? An event that went on? A showcasing for good old Star Wars Legion?
Yeah, they had this thing called Mini Stravaganza, which is kind of like their Warhammer Fest essentially, where they also have slightly enthusiastic people talking on stream about how cool the product is. But it got delayed because of this one of the staff got COVID or something, so they had to push it back. So they just had it this a lot past week, and lots of new announcements. I mean, we're gonna show some models here. There's some cards, but um, mostly the I want to show the models because cards, cards are cards.
Cards are cards. Alright, well, let's start with the first one, shall we? Who is
Say we
this
got
character?
Moff Gideon from The Mandalorian.
Moth Gideon, is that what you said?
Yeah, he's the villain of Mandalorian. Have you seen that show?
I am not. I don't
Oh,
have
okay.
Disney Plus,
Well,
so.
he's the bad guy, so he is now in the game with the dark saber.
So, what faction would he be part of?
So he's Empire. So like
Okay,
straight up Empire. Because in the show he's essentially Imperial remnant. So no fidgeting there. He is Empire.
alright then. I see the. What is that? A lightsaber or
So
a
that's the
sword?
dark saber, the Mandalorian relic.
I feel like they just made this up.
It's not like the comics. They bring it back to the show or to the canon now. So that's a Mandalorian relic that he steals, and he wields that weapon in the show for a bit.
I see. Well, that's cool. It's cool to see. I guess Mandalorian's good, right? And I haven't really heard too many bad things about it.
The first season is, I think, a lot of people say is the best Star Wars that's come out since Disney bought it. I'm not saying it would doesn't necessarily mean the other stuff is bad. No, that's the quality is all over the place there, depending who you ask. But most people consistently say that season one of The Mandalorian is the best Star Wars since Disney took over Star Wars.
Hmm.
And the main one of the big reasons why, and this is why I emphasize season one, is that it's kind of like a unique story that has really nothing to do with main Star Wars, with a main storyline. It's set after episode 6, but before episode 7, and it's just a fun, cool side story. Season 2 has more tie-ins to the main saga with the and other shows with characters.
Well, of course.
First season is just kind of its own thing, and it's super cool. It's definitely worth the watch.
Got to
And it's
tie in the money.
oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the whole universe. Not gonna squander it on brand new characters.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, put the fan favorites in there.
Yeah,
All right then. Let's go to these. These are Dark Troopers.
the Dark Troopers. Yeah, so
I've
these are
heard. I've heard these are really broken. Well, not broken. Really good. Should be the
yeah.
keyword.
So big thing with them is they got the armor rule. Actually, I have the card here. You
I
just
hear
linked
they
it right now.
can
So they have the
shoot
armor rule
twice or
for the
something like that.
they're kind of like vehicles, and yeah, they activate twice, but not in a row. They essentially have two order tokens, and you draw them from the pile twice. Which, it's powerful, but it's also one of those eggs in one basket thing. If I throw a lot into killing this unit, that's two activations gone. So if I throw like Darth Maul and Cad Bane into just wiping this unit out or something, then or if I just throw Ion, so it loses activations.
Well,
It's it's pretty strong to use it well.
I'll definitely be picking it up.
Yeah, I mean it seems like a cool addition to Empire. It's also looks really easy to paint. It's just black.
Now, remind me because it's been a while since I played. That red bar, that's their movement, right?
Yes, so they move one.
That's a yikes.
Yeah, they are tanky though, and it seems you can give them a jetpack upgrade. It seems.
Well, I mean, looking at them, I see two people,
Yeah,
rocket jumping and normal jumping. So, and these are what, like robots?
yeah, they're droids, not human.
I don't know. I feel about putting these in my Empire army anymore. But these are cool. I'll probably pick these up because my army is still pretty small with only like Vader and two snow troopers and a heavy support weapon.
Right, right.
So it'd be
I
cool to
mean, they're
put these in.
expensive. They're 95 points, no upgrades, which means you don't need a lot of them.
I liked it. It's nice. I mean, get what, 7 of them?
You get 7 of them. So it looks like looking at their card, you get 3 guys, and you could add at least 2 heavy weapons. So there's 2 slots for heavy weapons there. And what is that other slot? Yeah, and you could add 2 heavy weapons and an extra guy. So you could have up to 3 extra guys, which I'm assuming will up its points cost to almost 200, which is always good for less models to paint.
I like that. I like the sound of that. That's good. Moving on to the next thing here. Good old Ewoks. The the ones who destroyed the Empire.
Yes, the Ewoks.
I know a lot of people who are happy for these models.
Not me.
Now you're not happy for Ewoks?
Do not care about Ewoks. I mean, I don't think they should be removed or anything, but it's just that there's so much other things they could have done. But except for Ewoks, but I guess they have Ewoks.
They destroyed the Empire. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they did.
And they were invented to sell toys, so now they're serving their purpose even
They are
more.
right. They are serving their purpose. Oh man, Ewoks. I'm pretty sure they're gonna have. Oh, I didn't show the picture, but there's like an Ewok HQ, or at least an operative or something. Or maybe it's just an upgrade. They just show. Here, I'll link it. It's This looks like an Ewok officer, and then you got the special character Wicket. But yeah, Ewoks, Iron Legion.
What are you talking about, man? These are cool. I assume they're on the rebel side.
Oh, absolutely, they are on the rebel side.
I'm sorry, I don't play evil factions, so
you don't play you don't play terrorist factions.
exactly. But yeah, that's. I mean, hey, it's getting something, so that's all that matters. It may not be the best thing.
But it is something.
It is something though. Moving on, we got this chick. I can't remember her name, but I do remember her from the old
Oh, Asajj Ventress from the Clone Wars.
Clone Wars, the ones that
Yes,
were animated by the people who
yes,
made Samurai Jack.
yes. That was a great show.
That's all I know her from. Uh, so yeah, that's pretty cool. She's gonna be
Droid
um
for
droid,
sure.
which makes me sad because I like her design and the double sabers. So it makes me sad that I won't be able to use her in my Empire army.
Unless you prox here as like Operative Vader or something, that would make sense.
Gender bend Vader.
Just like, oh, she's use Vader's rules. A lot of people do that. They use like a different model and use they essentially they proxy. Like I'm gonna use the Inquisitor, but use Operative Vader's rules or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Of course, proxying is always cool, but I see a class favorite here in the fandom, and that's Ahsoka, right?
Yes, that is Ahsoka. This is a controversial model. In the actually, this whole thing is controversial because of, and this model is part of it.
All right, educate us. Why is it so
Well,
controversial?
controversial because this is Rebel Ahsoka, not Clone Wars Ahsoka. And Republic is it had zero announcements for this whole thing. And Republic is currently the worst performing and most boring faction just because a lot of I mean they're not terrible, like we could still win games and tournaments with them. It's just their list, they don't have a lot of lists that are good. It's very few lists are good.
Hmm.
So like there was a new battle force that came out for them, and apparently all the models there except for Anakin are garbage. So yeah, just uh one, they already Republic is in a bad spot. They're not really getting anything from this, or had nothing announced from this stream, and they drop Ahsoka. It's like, yeah, it's the Rebels Ahsoka, not Clone Wars Ahsoka. So sorry, Republic players can't use her.
Sometimes people. Sometimes
Yeah,
I thought it was
sometimes.
gonna. I figured as soon as you said there's a controversy around this model, I figured it was gonna be something stupid with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It is stupid like that.
Just,
But it's
just
like in a
not.
game with, four factions, kind of five factions. I really think that you should announce something for every faction, even if just one thing. Like even if it was just Ahsoka, right, for clones, or just like Commander Cody. At least it's something in it. Especially because, again, in a game with four factions, that it's still a young game, so each release can drastically change how a faction functions and really opens list building opportunities. Even just one model would have been nice for the Republic, but not today, or not this week, not this month.
Well, I'm happy. I got my models, and I didn't even ask
Yeah,
for it.
I know you get some Empire stuff. Didn't even ask for it. You also got more Empire models, which we will talk about later.
I did. What Empire models did I get?
Is that it? Is that all the announcements?
That's everything. That's
Oh,
everything we can
cool.
show.
So they revealed the cards for the IG droids, and they are usable by Empire.
Oops. I get the IG-88 and the IG-11, huh?
Yeah, IG-11 is Rebel, but IG-88 is Empire.
And this is the mercenary.
Yeah, the mercenary droid.
Wait. I'm sorry. I know it's a mercenary droid. I mean, like in terms of where it goes into my faction, like a
Yeah, it's a
operative,
mercenary.
right? Or what
Yep.
do they
Or
call it?
yeah, it's an operative, which is the kind of special forces. Not special forces because there's a slot called special forces, but the single character that's not a commander, but is not like a regular dude kind of thing.
Got it. So
But
let's see
yes,
what we got here. Is he any good? You tell me. He kind of
he
looks the
seems. I
same.
mean, it's a bounty. It has armor one. Didn't really show what kind of equipment he has, but it's a it's a cool bounty hunter, and you could shoot two guns at once. So he's throwing three black, three white when he attacks a pierce one. It's not bad.
Not bad at all. Is that? Does that say cleaver? Vibro cleaver?
Yeah, he has a sword in melee. It's actually kind of cool. He is kind of a long range. He has some range game and melee game, which is kind of nice.
Well, since IG-11's overpowered, it's a lot better than my cleaver, but
Well, your the cleaver has pierce one, which is pretty powerful.
that is true. That is a guaranteed kill on some guys.
Yeah, if you got a hit, he's dead. And actually, he has surge to crit. So yeah, IG-88 has a way better offensive potential.
All right, maybe I'll pick him up. Maybe he'll be good. I've got a lot. I mean, what's the standard game for Legion?
800 points.
I mean, I think I have Vader, two snowtroopers, and a heavy weapon. Pretty sure that's less than
Yeah,
500.
yeah.
Or what's the minimum? 400, right?
500 for skirmish.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm under 500.
Okay, with some dark troopers and some stormtroopers, you'll be good.
There we go. Well, that's I'm happy. Oh, who is this?
That's the Mandalorian, the main character from the Mandalorian, and he could be also run an empire.
Oh, okay. Weird that he'd be working for the Empire, but I guess he's a bounty hunter, right?
Yeah, and at the start, the first few episodes, he works for the Empire. Not, and he's not happy about it, but a job's a job, so he works for the Empire a bit.
Hey, money's money.
Money is money, and show some of his cards. But I mean, this is one of the most popular characters in Star Wars right now, and he's getting a model, and yeah, you could use him in Empire. So you could actually run him with Boba Fett, which is kind of cool. You run Mandalorian and Boba Fett, same army, and Vader. You could have this guy, Boba Fett, and Vader. Probably be a terrible army because you have three special characters, but it'd be fun.
Now, I don't know, because my gaming group, a different gaming group, uh, was talking about this, and they said Boba Fett was fat, so they started calling him Boba Fett or something like that. Is he that bad in the or show or
No, he
model?
just no. Actually, didn't send his new model.
Doesn't look like it.
No, let me upload it. But I mean, he's an old man, so he's gained some weight. It's more like bodybuilder kind of weight, not like eating McDonald's every day kind of weight. So, no, his model looks pretty cool.
Let's take a look at this model.
Can I save it? Give me a sec.
No worries, but yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like going back to the Republic thing, like Empire got a bunch of stuff. It got the Mandalorian, you got IG-88 on top of the Dark Troopers and Moff Gideon. So yeah,
Well, you see, when you do an honest living, get all the good stuff. All right, there's Boba Fett, Mandalorian.
yeah, Mandalorian Boba Fett, super cool.
With like, what,
He
what's
gets
with the improvised weapon there?
no, that's the Tusken Raider weapon, which he gets.
I
Trying to
figured
find.
he'd be more, gunslinging,
I
since
hope
that's
it's
like his thing.
yeah, I hope there's a multi pose where he gets like a gun or something. That'd be kind of cool. But
That's like his whole thing. With Vader's like no incineration, we figure he's gonna incinerate everyone. Does Boba Fett have a model that's obviously he just got a new model, but did he have a previous model?
he does have an old model. Yeah, it's based on the Empire Strikes Back one.
Hmm. That's probably his gunslinger.
Oh, probably.
No, I don't know because I never watched Mandalorian and I don't know anything really about Star Wars Legion too much. I didn't follow this event at all. I literally just heard about it and I'm like, oh, okay, that's
Hmm.
nice. But
But yeah, here we go. These are the reveals for Star Wars Legion.
well, that's cool. I'm happy. Can't say much for the Rebel scum, but that's what you get for being Rebel scum.
That is fair. Rebel scum is rebel scum.
Yeah, true. I mean, you got Ewoks. I assume that's Rebels.
Yeah, Ewoks
There you go.
were
You
in rebel,
you
but
got something.
I just don't care about Ewoks.
Fair. It is all fair. But that is it, unless you got any other gaming news you want to talk about.
No, that's it.
Alright, then we can go to hobby rants.
Yeah.
And I'll start off with a rant. Uh so have you heard about Resident Evil, the Netflix show?
I have not.
Good, cause it's awful.
Oh, really?
Which, seems to be pretty standard for anything that Netflix adapts.
That makes sense.
It does. I mean, if you'd seen like Death Note, when they tried to adapt that was pretty bad. Cowboy Bebop, I mean, do we even need to get into that? I'm sure there's many other things and other things in the pipeline. So I watched a few episodes of it, and it just baffles me, you know. Resident Evil has a blueprint to follow with multiple paths to go through, and you can even invent a few things yourself if you really wanted to. And they decided to go a completely different direction. And the only thing that this Resident Evil has in common with Resident Evil is name and some character names, and that's about it. You literally could have called this anything else, and it probably wouldn't have gotten as much hate as it does. It's still bad. The writing's awful, but yeah, I watched a bit of it. That's time I'm never getting back.
No, that sucks.
Yep, and then I saw on good old Twitter that Yu Yu Hakusho is gonna be Netflix adaptation, so I might as well just throw that subscription into the trash because it's just I can't trust them to do anything right. But enough about that rant. Hobby wise, I did a little bit of painting, some Black Templars, because I'm like, I need something easy to paint. And what's more easier to paint than Black Templars? So I painted up some Blade Guard,
Oh, sweet.
but Blade Guard aren't in the best position right now, but I like them still, and mainly because I don't want to buy new models, any more models, I should say.
Right,
So I'm sorry.
because you already got stuff to work on. The
Exactly.
eternal dilemma.
And I mean, I mentioned last time that I had to, pack everything up, get everything off my floor, get everything out of a closet, and I was just like, it's just so much stuff. I'm like, this is bad. This is really bad. I cannot buy any more things. So I see the Rotmeyer. I'm like, I could use those. I could buy those. Those would be fine. Luckily, those aren't out yet. I have time. But yeah, I did a little bit of that. Gaming. I actually got 240K games in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Got. Would you like to guess what army I fought? They were
You
both the same.
you fought Chaos Space Marines.
I did. Do you want to guess what faction?
You played World Eaters,
No.
Iron Warriors,
Word bearers.
Word Bearers. Aren't they like OP right now?
They are OP right now. If
Well
you
then,
go melee heavy with them, yeah, they're ridiculously OP. Well, because it's melee, so it's not that OP. But being able to re-roll every failed hit roll, and then as your I forget what it's called, let the galaxy burn builds up,
Hmm.
get those exploding sixes. Yeah, that hurts. That's a lot of damage. Especially the possess, man. Those are nasty.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, so I did my first game against uh Paulo. He ran word bears, I ran Necrons. Because I heard the Silent King was really stupid and broken. And especially now that he can put rerolls on himself and you can revive the menhirs. I'm like, I want to try this out. I want to see how this goes. And yeah, it was my Silent King.
Oof.
He was he was wiping the floor with
Oof.
the Chaos Space Marines.
What's good,
No,
right?
yeah. I mean, you expect the 400-point model to be good because it's a quarter of your or fifth of your army.
I mean, core helps, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what doesn't have core characters
The pylon.
and the Satans? I think are the only things that don't have core keyword in the Necron book anymore. Pretty sure everything in the Necron book is core, except for the two that I just mentioned.
Right.
So that was fun. That was a good game. Yeah, he messed up because he got turn one, and then he had his priest in a rhino, so he couldn't get those early buffs off on his on his possessed.
Right.
So big mistake on his part there. But other than that, yeah, it was pretty tragic. I mean, he had a 10-man possessed squad, and they just ate up 20 Necron warriors like nothing, which is expected.
Which
But
makes sense. 10 possessed against 20 just regular warriors.
yeah, didn't stand a chance there. But that was fun. And then I fought Greg, who also ran World Eaters,
Oh,
a completely different list than Paulo. And for that game, I decided I wanted to run my Thousand Suns
okay.
because Magnus went down 30 points, and I'm like, I wonder if Magnus is worth taking now.
Is it?
And uh, yes and no. I mean, it worked well against him because he didn't have shooting. He had one unit of Havocs, and then he had everything else was melee. He had two 5-man Warp Talons, three 5-man Possessed Squads, one 10-man Terminator Squad with Chain Fists and Power Fists, a Demon Prince, two 10-man Cultists, and then 5 Havocs, Master Possession, Sorcerer. I think that's it. I think that was his entire army right there. So he only had Havocs that could shoot me, and they had auto cannons. So Magnus was able to live a lot longer.
That's good.
But we both made two crucial mistakes in our game. I had Twisted Fate, his possessed, which is basically Death Hex, and if you don't know what that is, it removes your invul save. So
Yep, that one I'm familiar with.
I put that on one of his possessed. And then I looked really close. I'm like, I could do a charge. I can charge into the possessed, and I can charge into Havocs. All I have to do is roll a 9. And of course, I failed that. I failed that twice.
Of course.
I command re-rolled that. So Magnus gets charged by possessed, Warp Talons, I think another unit of possessed, and the Executioner. He ran one of those, that character, and he got Magnus down to 3 wounds. So I lived. I lived the combat. Wiped out a possessed squad. I killed the character. He used a stratagem, I think, to bring him back to life.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the crucial mistake he did there was that the next round he attacked first with the Executioner instead of like the possessed unit or the Warp Talons, because Magnus only had like 3 wounds left. But he attacked with that guy because I think what he was hoping for 2 6s on the hit, because when you get 2 6s on the hit, they count as 2 mortal wounds.
Oh,
So I think that's what he was hoping for, and he didn't get any of that. He got Magnus down to 1 wound, but
not enough.
not
Not enough.
enough. So it was fun to see, but in the end, I lost my thousand
Point.
suns points. It was 81 to 90.
Oh, that's close.
Yeah, well, you'd think you wouldn't be able to get any psychic powers off against Thousand Suns, but when you're Greg, you just roll 11 plus every time for your uh, warp ritual, and just keep stacking up those points. That's the new secondary, so which, well, not the new secondary, but it's a secondary. But speaking of secondaries, yeah, my Thousand Suns have changed quite a bit in terms of secondaries as well. Like Wrath of Magnus used to be kill more models in the psychic phase than your opponent. That is no longer the case. Now it's like cast a blessing, a malediction, and a witchfire all in like one turn to
Mm-hmm.
score points. And Magnus is exempt from that. He cannot, if he does it, it doesn't count.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, probably because it would be too easy for him.
It would be too easy for him, but if you think about it, it'd be more incentive to take him, because then he'd be easily scoring you points, and it's not like you can hide Magnus.
Right.
So exempting him kind of seems weird, but whatever. And then that the old Wrath of Magnus became Sorcerer's Prowess, where now you have to kill a unit in the psychic phase to score points.
Is that
So,
easier?
no, I mean it depends, right? If it's a unit with like, if it's a small 5-man unit, maybe you could smite a unit off the board, no problem. But Space Marines have 2 wounds, so you gotta do 10 wounds to a 5-man squad using psychic powers. Which Greg taught me an interesting rule. Or not an interesting rule, an interesting fact that I could use for my army.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, use smite on every unit, even if they don't have a valid target, just to build up your smite value. Then you use your cabal points for use one of your cabal points to cast smite on its minimum value, and then you get an auto super smite off.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, I was using that a lot on Magnus. I'm like, I didn't even know you could do that. Just throw smite out there and not, you know, do it, not hit anyone with it.
It's kind of thematic to using the different units to kind of build up the psychic choir or something, and then do a super smite.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun game. It was a close game, but like by the end of turn 5, it's just because what he did was he took a For the Dark Gods, which is the Chaos Space Marine specific mission,
Hmm.
and what that is you got to hold the middle, which works well because he took which ritual, which you also have to be in the middle to cast that. So he just went up there. There's like a building in the middle. He stuffed 10 Terminators in there, all his characters and Demon Prince in there, and he just sat there. And he just did For the Dark Gods and Warp Ritual. And that's how he just racked up those points super fast.
Hmm.
Because I can't shoot him because of the terrain blocking line of sight on the first level. And I'm not gonna charge buffed buffed up Terminators who have a transhuman, you know?
Right.
It's just not gonna work out well.
Can die.
Yeah. So, after he maxed out Dark Gods and Warp Ritual, he pretty much just took his Terminators out and started cleaning everything up. Because possessed are nasty. That's all I'm gonna say. Possessed are nasty, especially with movement 9. But yeah, that's all I did. What about you? How is hobbying, gaming, ranting? What do you got?
Um, Finished two of my contemptors. Got a 30K game on Saturday. 30K is such a weird game. So the game had 5 objectives, but you score at the end of the game, and you score random points. So you roll on the table, and you can get between 0 to 3 points. So I play the game. I clear the board. At the end of the game, I push my buddy back towards closer to the deployment zone, and I make a risky play. So if I play the safe play, it would be 2 objectives for him and 3 for me. But I decided to assault one of his tactical squads with my command squad to see if I could take them off the objective, and I did. I charged them. They broke. They ran. Couldn't sweep because I was in Terminator armor. But I hold the objectives like in the last turn. It's like, all right, sweet. You know, um, well played moves. The risk paid off. End of the game, roll for points. He rolls a 3, or sorry, he rolls a 5, so he gets 3 points for one of his. I'm like, okay, my turn. I roll. I get a 6 for one. I roll a 6, so it's 3 victory points for one of my objectives. So we're tied. I roll again. I roll a 1. That's 0 points. I roll again. I roll a 2. That's 0 points. So we're tied. And one of the secondaries is you get a point for each enemy unit you kill, and he killed one more unit than me, so he wins by 1. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this game is so funny. Can you imagine in like competitive 40K where your objective points are random?
No, I couldn't
Ridiculous.
imagine having too much fun in a random RNG game like that.
Yeah. It's like, haha, I mean, it's kind of narrative. It's like, okay, like the supplies you're trying to secure were empty or whatever, but it's just like, wow. I mean, thank goodness we're like buddies having fun. Even my friend was like, I don't feel like I want, because he's like a more competitive board gamer. Well, he's not like a tournament player, but he plays a lot of board games, so he understands the mechanics of a good fair game. And he's like, I didn't feel like I won. Like, I won because we just rolled some dice. So yeah. So I mean, it was fun. I had a good time, but I can imagine playing at an event and like that's like the top table, and someone just outplays someone, and then you just whiff on the dice rolls, and you don't score any victory points. Oh, it's so funny. Also, it's 30K. I mean, I know I keep smack talking stratagems, but I realized this in in Heresy 2.0 and in 7th edition 40K. There's points where you charge a unit to another unit, and you just kind of roll dice to see what happens. There's no like decision making in the way that you get decision making when it comes to like stratagems or command cards for Legion. So what happened was I charged my contemptor into his contemptor, and essentially for 2 turns it was just rolling, and we were just rolling dice because it's the we had the same, more or less the same stats. I think I had another extra attack than him, but same melee weapon, same defensive stats. It's literally who could roll better, and eventually I ended up losing that fight. I mean, his contemporary died after, but this that fight was just, let's just roll dice to see who wins, kind of thing. And which, there's fun in that, but as someone who's played a lot of competitive games in my wargaming career, just like, wow, this is kind of boring. This specific, I mean, yeah, I could have charged other units, or I could have whatever, but you kind of fall back. You can't. There's no rerolls or anything. There's no reactions that can be done in melee. There's no stratagems or command cards or anything. It's just, here's your unit stuck in combat. We're just gonna roll dice until someone dies.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what happens when you're, you know, all the same stat lines, right?
Yeah. Even in 40K, even without stratagems, the fact that you pick which combat goes first, there's some level of control and
Mm-hmm.
gameplay, like actually gameplay, because rolling dice isn't gameplay. You're just rolling dice. But here it's because the initiative system. It's like we're the same initiative, so we just do wounds simultaneously, and we're literally just rolling. Do I hit? Do I wound? Do you save? That's it. There's no like there's no decision making. It's just pick up dice and roll it. And it was just, wow, like I didn't notice this before. It's because I've played like other games where there's more elements of control and decision making, and it made me understand games a little bit more at that moment of like, especially decision making in games. So that was interesting.
Well, hey, I know our group chat has wants us to play some 30K. So I did throw it out there. I'm willing to play the game.
Yeah,
Gotta work with my hectic schedule.
right, right.
And that'll
But
give
yeah,
it a
that was
shot.
that was my weekend. More heresy. Expect more of that in the future.
I expect it every week.
Yes.
All right, then. Well, that's all I've got. I'm ready to call it there.
Yeah.
Everyone else, thanks for hanging out. Subscribe, leave a comment, get the word out, and we'll see you next time.
That everyone.